So, fucking tonight, I wanted to talk a bit more about the Bob Ross video that I forgot to show last stream. And actually, I think it's a good thing I turned out that I forgot to show it, but we'll go over that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Um, and then we're going to take a look at just some general paintings of Bob Ross in general. And in context of that, what I want to be talking about also today is the commodification of Bob Ross, in terms of the way that, okay, so it's one thing for where he was always setting out in a certain level with monetization because, you have to live, right? In regards with his content production for teaching people how to do art. But I believe you can see, in my opinion, a difference, between where it was art for the sake of teaching art to where it began to become more commodified by other people, where his image and likeness got commercialized and used for profit. Um, you know what I'm saying? And it's one thing if that were to happen and it would be like he did it his way and he built it up and he got the rewards for himself, and then he was able to pass that on to his family. His son inherited it, happy ever after. And it's the story of a dad who built his business up and left something for his kid. Maybe that's like the dream, quote unquote, right? So that I wouldn't be like, okay, well, outside of standard capitalism, there's nothing to really criticize there, right? But where it would be that's not what happened, where it's the story that's actually happened, turns out to be more of a situation where while he was still alive, he ended up doing involved with business deals with people who I believe may not have had the best intentions for his own autonomy and self control for his own image and likeness in business. And they were able to gain control of the business, and so now his son doesn't um, benefit off of the use of his family's name and his father's name, but other people do. And there's more to that story, but this live stream touches on that, but it's not like fully about that in a way, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I'll pull up some sources another time to do a better live stream on that another time. But I will be talking about the documentary today. Um, so yeah, we'll be kind of touching on that as well as last live stream, like how this conversation came about and everything we're looking at today too is because last live stream I remember there being this ad that I couldn't fucking find. So I'll basically today be showing you everything that I came across as I was looking for that, plus what I forgot to show you from last time, if that makes sense. All together. And then after that, I wanted to just think about too. I think this was the last live stream as well, or maybe the one before. No, I think it was the last one. Um, fucking where I was talking about like I had thought that Facebook killed MySpace. I said something like that, I think. Um, and so today I'm literally like for this live stream, I'm like pulling up why did Facebook kill MySpace? Is what I Google. And what I find is just like, oh shit, there's way more to it. Because, like at the transition of that, I was in middle school. I was like in sixth grade, like literally like 11 years old using fucking MySpace. And I said using, not he's been. God damn. But then I was like, I think 13 or 14. I think I was in eighth grade by the time I decided to got on MySpace because it was like originally for like college kids or then like high schoolers and then it got to everybody. But I think I don't know. I just made one and I've had the same one since I was in eighth grade. So yeah. back in I'm pretty sure it was 8th grade. And I still used MySpace and Facebook for a time, but I can't really remember. At some point in high school, I just kind of abandoned MySpace altogether and been on only Facebook ever since. And so fucking yeah, I think like for me, I had said that I thought that Facebook killed MySpace because I guess it felt like it to me because that was my experience. Just like when you're, in middle school and high school, not understanding or thinking about all of these other things happening on the business side, the marketing side, the um, social side, like all of these influences, you just know like your user experience in your own little bubble side, right? So like that was like me then. So like for I felt like Facebook killed MySpace because I stopped using MySpace and I went on to Facebook. Because all my friends had moved on to Facebook, and for me, I felt like it was more of an algorithm switch thing. Like I did notice that and discuss that. But there's also just like a bit more to it that I really didn't understand or know about or articulate to where it really wasn't like Facebook killed MySpace, but rather MySpace didn't meet up to social standards or expectations after Facebook. Is basically what I feel like is kind of what is the energy from when I'm looking into if Facebook is the reason MySpace no longer exists, right? So we'll look into that material too. And then also along the way, um, I wanted to think about the turn and burn technique in this one ad as well. And we will check that out too, possibly. Um, and so, yeah, we'll probably be bringing up the 60-hour marketing challenge. I think I can't remember if I remember to pull that ad up, but you know what? If I remembered, and then if actually, I think I can argue it, but I don't know. Okay, if I can, if I remembered to pull that up from this one video. Okay, I'm distracted. Alrighty, I'm just gonna fucking run my intro and do this thing. I'm sorry this is so long. I was thinking it was gonna be a quick live stream. It's like 8 fucking minutes, just an introduction. Like, why am I like this? I don't know. But here we go for real now. Hi, my name is Alexis, also known as Lexi or Deaf Child. I was born deaf, hard of hearing. I began doing business as Deaf Child 2013, marketing 2011, sales 2009. I've earned 50 plus certifications in marketing and sales. My Bachelor of Science from Loyola University, New Orleans, with a music industry studies major and a business administration minor. Deafness runs in my family genetically. Speech is not fully accessible to me. Anyway, I'm here to bitch about whatever the fuck is on my mind. So here we go. Visit my site at noladeafchild.com. Okay, so first of all, last live stream, this video that I was gonna play and I forgot to play it was this like thing called all Bob Ross paintings in one collage. Well, today I decided to scroll through the comments, when I had pulled this up, and it's like a bunch of people basically, in my opinion, kind of like a mixed bag. Some people are like just happy about the video, but some people are like, this video is fake, this is stupid, this isn't real, some of these aren't even his pictures and stuff like that. So, um, then someone else in the comments posted a link. Two links were posted actually. One was to this like 1209k.com/Bob Ross, whatever the fuck site this is. And it's apparently got all of his pictures. I don't know how I feel about this Indian girl one. But, yeah, like, I don't know. I don't know. But that's just me. That's just me. Wait a minute. Is this what Bob Ross looks like without the fucking perm? Or no, is that his kid? Is that his kid? Did he make it? I don't can't tell. Okay, so anyway, that was his kid for sure. Okay. But anyway, so they got the link to like a bunch of his photos and shit is linked in the description of this video. So basically, people are saying that the AI thing, but even if the whole AI thing is that the pictures aren't actually Bob Ross's and this is like a joke thing, I feel like, okay, so we're gonna watch the video anyway because I kind of think it's kind of funny. Let's see. Yeah, this works. I kind of think it's kind of funny. Um, but yeah, apparently it's not actually Bob Ross. Bob Ross's art. I don't know if it is or isn't. A bunch of comments are saying it's not actually Bob Ross's art. It looks like Bob Ross art esque, which I don't know. So I do know that this is AI generated. So we're just gonna check this out real.
Let me show you what crazy thing I've got going up here today. Today I have a crazy canvas here, double prime, pre-stretched, and I've taken little black chips, the natural sponge. I like the natural sponge because it has a lot of irregularities in it. And I just take the black chips and just sort of gobbed it all over here, just to make all these things. I think I want to do it. And then just beat the devil out of it.
And then like yeah, everybody used to always love that beat the devil out of it thing. I don't know. I think it was just like this shit. Like he had those little catchphrases, that little, and then like he just started off with like, let me show you just what we got going up over here. Right here, that I felt like is an example of a turn and burn effect right there. You should. Okay, maybe it's on the ad too, but that's it right there too. So let's go over it from a 60-hour marketing challenge. What is the turn and burn? I put that shit in here, right? Didn't I? I thought I did. Hold up. Okay, here we go. So, did I fucking explain this shit in here? Damn, this book is horrible. This is why I gave myself like 3 out of 5 stars. No, what was it? 6 out of 10. Same fucking thing, whatever. Um, but yeah, okay. So, the turn and burn effect. It is basically it's part of the introduction of a conversation. It's when you're able to get somebody to go from one place to another. Oh, I kind of did explain it right here. It's when you develop a customer personal relationship with someone, you capture their attention, and then you're able to get their attention from one place to another. And so he implements that by bringing your attention, he's just like from the focus being on him to the focus being on the painting. You know what I'm saying? And so he implements that even in the way he would introduce you into getting into the work. And then the 5 parts of the conversation where he introduces himself and then he uses the turn and burn effect to then transition into the short story and presentation where he's explaining what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? Um, so even in this AI fake ass apparently generated video that I forgot to show last time, we can still see implementation here of where in his communication there are these strategies used that like whether he's doing it on purpose or not, these are strategies that he's implementing that you could take anywhere, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Um, so yeah. Back in and then another thing, so I just want to watch like the first part of this video, and the full video is linked in the description of this video if you want to go watch the rest. So this is just exploring, because whenever I was googling, like, like I was trying to find like last live stream that I had thought this ad existed. And so, in part of me Googling to try and see if I could find like the ad I was thinking of, this is one video that I came across here, and I was like, oh shit, you're right though, because it's talking about, the dark side of Bob Ross in terms of what I was referring to as the commodification of his image and likeness by others, where it's outside of his and his family's control. Um, and so let's just kind of address that. And so let me just play you the first part of this video real quick.
So there's a new documentary out on Netflix called Bob Ross Happy Accident, Betrayal and Greed. It goes over his life with his family, friends, and his students. The doc is extremely eye-opening if you've ever wondered what happened to Bob's son and Bob's instructors. But perhaps the most eye-opening thing is what happened after Bob's death and the fight for his name. Now, the last half of this documentary really focuses in on this subject matter, and let me tell you, it's fascinating to watch and learn. Now, I'm not here to give you a full review on the documentary. I want you to...
So yeah, the documentary he's talking about, didn't he show that? Oh yes. So the Bob Ross Happy Accident, Betrayal and Greed on Netflix. I just checked, and as of this live stream, it's still on Netflix. So I highly recommend going to watch the full fucking documentary there. And then I might see if there's any clips I might be able to get away with reacting to or something online from it or something like that. Maybe one day. But yeah, fucking I just wanted to, put that into context here where there is this like additional history. And then also he starts showing right here where they started basically creating the advertising off of him. Let me just let this play just a second.
When you watch this documentary, it makes you question, should you buy Bob Ross products and support the Bob Ross company?
So fucking they got like, all of these like basically they've created all of these commercial products off of his image and likeness, like this chia pet, clothes, merchandise, lunchbox, coffee cups, like t-shirts and everything. So they've got like all of these different elements here, to where, like I remember seeing ads for these things, in my opinion, if I remember correctly. And so this is another thing, like what part of like how I was Googling this was like, I feel like I'm experiencing a Mandela effect of my own, to where I was coming across this information and I was trying to find like, did ads exist for I can't speak, Bob Ross. I literally do think I said Rice instead of Ross. Um, Bob Ross like offers merchandise and stuff, because I remember seeing that like late 90s, early thousands PBS type era. Um, and so like in some Reddit threads, I also remember seeing in the comments here too, they were saying like the original Bob like Ross shit aired back in like the day didn't do that fucking shit. And so I was like, well, when the fuck did he die? Because I remember that shit. And so he died 95, and that would make sense because I was only 2 9, like I was born 93. You know what I mean? So yeah, fucking. And so I was trying to find the commercials. I found another Bob Ross thread about commercials or whatever. Um, and then this other person thing, people were talking about the animals flying over the sea, and someone linked the YouTube video for like the Bob Ross channel for the interlude, and I also thought this was awesome. So when they didn't have like an ad or an ad spot and they just needed some time, they would run this thing. I'm gonna play it with the music real quick. It's like super ambient. And the whole thing about it is, and it's like these little different animals like dolphins and turtles going over like different like landscapes, like either the city or like mountains and things. And then it'll say the Bob Ross channel will be right back, and it's got a countdown on it. You know what I mean? And so they'd run this shit, and it's just so chill, and it's like something to relax to or whatever. And part of it too, where they maintain the branding elements on there, the Bob Ross channel. What reason that this works too as a buffer? It's part of like what's called mere endowment exposure theory. And that's mere MERE. Sorry for the fucking captioner. Exposure, EXPOS. Yep, okay. RE, sorry. Fucking, and theory. And then that shit fucking is like the idea that the more time people spend with you, both in length and duration, then the more likely they are to form positive associations with you and remember you. And the difference between recognition and recall is if someone can recall you without a prompt, then they don't need a prompt to think of you, meaning you're either first choice or last because you're top of mind. But if someone can recognize you when prompted, then that means you're typically second choice because you're who they'll choose when their first choice isn't around. You know what I'm saying? Um, and so the more times people spend with you and have those associations with you, the more likely they are to, if that association is positive, want to spend more time with you when they think of you and see you around. You know what I mean? So that's what that is for. That brand like instills brand loyalty too in the way he does that. Also, but it's not in your face. You know what I'm saying? It's super chill. I fucking love it. But yeah, fucking. So let's just watch a bit more of it, and we'll probably come back to it. Parts of it too. Okay, we're gonna come back to this. Fuck it. But yeah, so that thing is real chill. So coming back to the Bob Ross channel commercial Reddit thread, people were talking about the filler, and that's how I found that. So yeah, and then in this process, I ended up finding some MTV promo, and Bob Ross obviously had passed away at this point, and so I was just kind of like, wow. I mean, I believe he passed away already. I don't believe this was like done with MTV. I think this was done with his art after, and then they edited it, if that makes sense. But yeah, fucking I don't know that for sure. That's just what I believe happened based on the timeline of when he passed and what I'm seeing. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they did do an actual collab. But I'm wondering that based on what we know of what was done with his image and likeness. You know what I'm saying? But either way, it's still a really cool ad. So let's just check it.
I thought maybe today we'd make a scene that's very happy, beautiful little scene with a lot of color in it, very easy that you can do. There we go. Okay, let's just put a happy little mountain, something about like that. And let's paint several little happy trees and push. Look at there. There. MTV, the land of happy little trees.
Okay, you know what? Actually, this must have been with them because I don't think I watched this. I mean, I don't think I paid attention to what he was saying when I was watching shit earlier. Because how he had said MTV landed half the trees or whatever if he wasn't doing that with them. You know what I mean? So shit. Maybe they did come into the fucking do that shit. They didn't just fucking edit that. Unless would it have been possible to edit that shit? Hmm, who knows? I mean, they're making holograms out of people and shit though. But yeah, fucking So yeah, someone said I remember having MTV on. All of a sudden, Bob Ross is painting a scene super fast. I'm like, what the fuck? Then he says MTV, the land of happy trees. I felt punked. I thought that was funny because Punked is an MTV show, but yeah. And then they said back then MTV was so good, even Bob Ross was doing promos for them. Rest in peace, Bob Ross. And someone, oh goddamn. Oh, now MTV's dead, I think. But yeah, fucking. So this probably is the best MTV ad ever. You know what I'm saying? The land of happy little trees. Okay, so fucking also in trying to find the ads for like items that I was referring to earlier, I couldn't really find like the full ads, but I do see like different items, the joy of painting volume here, the joy of painting special edition type um, merchandise and collection in terms of the physical copies of uh, this content, these recordings and shit, you know what I'm saying? But like, they even have a catalog for the joy of painting the collection. And I feel like I'm crazy because I can't find any online ads for like what I felt like I used to see on TV for Bob Ross shit. But I felt like it used to be Bob Ross ads on TV and I can't fucking find any. And I feel gaslit. I mean, I've seen those Bob Ross ads for those other things, but it's like not what I'm thinking of in my head. Okay. Alright, so we're gonna move on to the Facebook kill MySpace thing, but before we do, we're just gonna take a quick breather, quick interlude, real quick with a bit more of this Bob Ross countdown. It's just so cute though. Okay, so why did Facebook kill MySpace is what the fuck I had decided to Google. And again, like, I know what I know and I don't know what I don't know. Like, I don't really, like, I know specific things that I've studied and, like, I have my lived experience on, but, um, fucking, I was just like, I really thought that, like, it was like Facebook came around, and in my head, it's like MySpace died, because that's what it felt like for me as a kid. But fucking, there's also more to it. You know what I mean? Like, so when we think about the social connections and the user experience, so the fast Facebook ads back when it first came out were less intrusive, which is hilarious because now, particularly where we've watched the growth lecture from Facebook's vice president of growth, we know that Facebook heavily bases their monetization on ads. You know what I'm saying? And they really push that shit everywhere now. Across several platforms, WhatsApp, Instagram, like all this shit, right? Um, fucking, but except for I haven't seen ads on Threads yet. Knock on wood. I'm waiting for ads. I don't know if they're gonna come on Threads or not, but I'm kind of loving. It's the one place that I don't put ads on because, like, in terms of my regular posts, like, I will share my YouTube videos there, but I don't run ads for my business really there because it's like the one place that doesn't have ads right now. You know what I mean? Is in terms of social networks, and I kind of like it. Fucking, but yeah, apparently Facebook was better technologically wise at that time, and uh, the initial exclusivity may have been part of what helped create interest for people wanting to be a part of it. You know what I mean? But yeah, fucking, and then MySpace's decline was due to they had oversaturation of advertising. But honestly, I don't really ever remember there being nearly as much advertising on MySpace as there was on Facebook. I do remember slow load times. They put lots of innovation. I guess I could see that. shifting its focus to music and entertainment instead of social networking. And yeah, I had mentioned that. So I had mentioned where, the two things that I did mention, I think I did get right, where I had said the algorithm and the music focus were why I moved from MySpace to, and within the community, why I moved from MySpace to Facebook, and why I think a lot of others did too. And so I do think that those three things I did get right. You know what I'm saying? Um, fucking, but yeah, fucking. So this other article I found from Peta Petzel, they basically titled it "MySpace CEO: Facebook didn't kill MySpace, Google did" for music. And it's written by Jaron Schneider. And it says MySpace, once the biggest social network on earth, faded into obscurity after Facebook took the world by storm. That's the widely held belief, anyway. But according to CEO Tim Vanderhook of Viant, a company that bought MySpace in 2011, that's not what happened at all. Vanderhook took to LinkedIn to share that the belief that MySpace was done in by Facebook isn't true. Facebook's growth and popularity certainly didn't help, but MySpace was more hurt by Google, he alleges. The decline of MySpace wasn't primarily due to Facebook, but was a calculated takedown by Google over a fight for music. I could see, we'll see what they have to say, but what else I could see with them being penalized for Google? Let's discuss where I discuss core web vitals in here. Core web vitals regarding metrics for loading speed, interactivity and responsiveness, and visual stability. Now, albeit the actual core web vitals, as we know of, didn't come out until much later, like almost 10 years. Not exactly, but basically. Um, fucking the constructs for what was becoming core web vitals and all of this reasoning was still coming out at that time. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. Like, um, every update from Google leads to the next one. So it's all a buildup of the past updates before it. And it's just continuous improvement on each other. Um, and so you can often predict where Google is going to go in its future updates based on what it's been doing with the past updates. Now, a lot of times they're going to throw you for a loop. They're going to decide out of nowhere, this no longer is what we want to see anymore, and now this is what we want to see. But for the most part, they're pretty upfront, and they tell you this is what we're doing, and this is how you do it. You know what I mean? And so Core Web Vitals, they've been moving towards this for a long time through these different updates, such as the Penguin update and the Panda update, and the focus on expert authority and trust, So there's these different, and we'll have to go into all of this shit in a different live stream because we'll be here all day. But basically, these are updates to the algorithm over time that are supposed to make it easier for things to get found online. Now, up until Google was releasing featured snippets, I was actually thinking like a lot of the updates as they came out were very helpful to helping people connect what people want to see, what people are searching for, to the result, right? However, ever since they started with this AI bullshit, it's really pissing me off. Maybe it just needs time, but right now it's not working for me. Anyway, that's a different story. I apologize. Okay, back to this article. Um, it says everyone thinks Facebook killed MySpace, but the real assassin was Google, using its monopoly to dismantle us piece by piece. If it could happen to the world's largest website, it could happen to anyone, Vanderhook says. Back in 2006, MySpace was the largest website on the planet, due not just to its social networking aspect, but due to its dominance in music, Vanderhook explains. It was the only platform that was licensed by all four major record labels to provide music videos and allow for streaming audio. Anyone who used MySpace will remember that music was a big part of what the platform offered. Okay, so I mean, I do remember that they transitioned to this like switch where there's this whole like music MySpace profile thing. And I remember, back when like secondhand serenade was popular, is when people were like on MySpace music, you know what I'm saying, in my reality of middle school, fucking. But like, I don't know. I feel like the coding is what, I mean, I guess they're not saying the biggest part. They're just saying a big part. And I guess it was a pretty big part. You know what? I'm not going to nitpick. I just feel like it's not the biggest thing I associated with MySpace. Like, I do associate with how they transitioned to leaning that way. And I felt like when they did that, everybody left because they stopped focusing on like they changed. I remember there had been a shift in the way that the news feed worked and the post worked and the algorithm, um to where like everything was designed differently and they focused it more to be on the music, so I do feel like that was a thing, but it became less about networking and less about pushing the labels, I think, if that makes sense for me. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Why am I muting? I'm not playing a video. I keep doing that and I'm reading shit. But anyway, I think I read this? It says every profile could stream music and being at the top of the MySpace music charts was a major factor in getting discovered and landing a record deal. Um, I mean, in some ways, I can agree to a point to where, like, like right now, everybody is on TikTok. The big thing is you have to be, a lot of record labels want you to be getting a certain number of views on TikTok. So, to a point, I could see what they mean by that. But to another point, I feel like it's just like record labels, it doesn't matter what platform it's on. You know what I mean? MySpace was just a platform, and a lot of people were on MySpace at the time. So, I mean, it's like, yeah, it was true, but it's like, it's not like, I don't know. Like, it wasn't like they relied on MySpace for it. MySpace was just a vehicle. But there was any vehicle they could take or avenue they could, if I'm making sense, I don't know. And it says late in 2006, Google acquired YouTube and quickly integrated it into their ecosystem. By licensing music videos, which now account for 30% of all YouTube plays, Google positioned YouTube as the dominant force it is today, directly competing with MySpace Music's stronghold, Vanderhook says. Well, there's like monopolization is illegal, so there's nothing wrong with others. But yeah, fucking. And it says, well, I guess Google could be monopolizing, but now it says, but Facebook didn't stop there. Not Facebook, but Google didn't stop there. They knew that controlling search traffic was key to dominating the internet. Google manipulated search results, prioritizing their properties like YouTube over competitors. I mean, I definitely do believe that, powers that be at Google will influence search algorithms and search results in order for certain things to get shown. I feel like we see that a lot, particularly when it comes to narratives about world history. I said world, WORLD. Yeah. Fucking, but whatever. And it says their acquisition of DoubleClick allowed them to redirect ad dollars and traffic away from MySpace, starving us of visibility and engagement. I can understand. Well, I guess Google does have a stronghold on search engine traffic these days, like even back then, and particularly now these days. But still, I feel like there's still enough people that will use Bing and other things to where, like, you put those ad dollars in, you still will get some result because they need your money. Um, and then, but yeah, YouTube always will prioritize its own content, but that's also where MySpace could have created a YouTube channel and redirected back to their MySpace channel, use Google's algorithm against them. You know what I'm saying? Because Google's going to prioritize their YouTube and Google links. That's what you could have done. That's what I would do. If Google started penalizing me, I would just like penalizing my website. Then I would just create the profiles for things that they don't penalize and redirect traffic back to my should. I don't know. That's just me. And it says Vanderhook points to Google's launch of Google Plus in 2011 that failed miserably, I believe, which was a social network designed to compete with Facebook, Twitter, and MySpace. Everyone thinks Facebook killed MySpace, but the real assassin was Google, using its monopoly to dismantle us piece by piece. Google integrated it with YouTube, Gmail, and Search, artificially boosting its visibility. Within weeks, Google Plus had 10 million users. By the end of 2011, it had 90 million. Google also introduced the social inbox in Gmail, filtering notifications from competing networks into a separate tab, making users feel like there is less activity on those platforms, accelerating their decline, he continues. I mean, this maybe, I don't know, but then how does that explain why Facebook was able to succeed there, though? Because Google and Facebook were competitors in that regard still, but Facebook outperformed Google. I don't know. Google Plus. That actually is kind of a feat, you know what I mean? To be able to, FEAT, to be able to outperform Google. It's actually kind of like, yeah. Um, Vanderhook says that as Google's control of search and online traffic expanded, its ability to shape the narrative did too, allowing it to gain ComScore. I can't speak. I said corn. That's ComScore numbers and push the narrative that it was Facebook that was killing MySpace. In reality, Google was the silent executioner. By the time YouTube fully integrated with Google's ecosystem, MySpace was no longer the dominant platform it once was. Wait a minute, was YouTube not originally owned by Google and did they end up buying that or something? Or did they just create it separately? I wonder. I've never looked into that. And the narrative had been rewritten, Vanderhook claims. Okay, so I can kind of see for him if that was a social perception push, why he might feel that way. But for me, as a user who was not old enough to pay attention to that shit and was not paying attention to that shit, but was just using this shit, I felt like YouTube and Google had nothing to do with it. It was, I'd rather be on Facebook. And for me, it was a shift from MySpace to Facebook. So I think that's also a part of it too. Like for a lot of us, that is what it was. You know what I mean? In my opinion. But yeah, fucking. But this does provide a lot of insight into what was happening with the search algorithms and things like that that I didn't know about. But yeah, then it says Google didn't just outcompete MySpace. They dismantled us using their monopolistic power. If they could do it to the world's largest website, they could do it to anyone. This isn't just a story about the past. It's a warning for the future. When one company controls search, content, advertising, email, and even user identity, they control the entire internet. It is now time, oops, they didn't say now. It's time to break up Google before they bury more competition in the shadows. If it happened to MySpace, it can happen to you. This is the power of Google, and it is unmatched. From this perspective, Vanderhook is alleging that Google used its vast power to create a social network overnight and combine it with the ambitions for YouTube to knock MySpace off the podium. Once MySpace was effectively dead, Google Plus was no longer needed, and the Silicon Valley giant set it out to pasture to join the many other projects killed by Google over the years. Google Search, owned and operated property YouTube, O&O property monetized via ads, mandatory use O&O ad platform to buy ads, double-click assets, maximize advertisers' share of wallet. That's called end-to-end lock-in from users to advertisers, and ensures market share for all Google owned and operated at each step. It's how it works, Vanderhook concludes. A few months ago, comedian Adam Canover published a video detailing how Google's dominance over search made it incredibly powerful and wealthy, while simultaneously making the entire internet burst. The United States Department of Justice's trial against Google for antitrust violations related to internet publishing, broadcasting, and web search is scheduled for September 9th, 2024. Shit, maybe I should cover this shit. Okay, so there's a video here how Google ruined the internet.
Have you noticed?
I don't know if I can watch, if I have it in me to watch this. Let's see, I don't think I want to watch this whole thing, but let's just watch a bit of it 2 times sped up. Let's just watch like a bit of the beginning, a bit of the middle, and a bit of the end. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying?
Have you noticed that lately Google sucks ass? It was supposed to be the greatest information retrieval tool in history. But now, even when you search for something basic, the results are full of AI garbage, fake product reviews, and so many ads you might as well send your search query straight to the spam bots. It's gotten so bad that now I literally add Reddit to my search terms because at least that way the garbage I get back was written by actual human dorks. Well, you're not making it up.
I mean, honestly, though, he's not wrong. Okay, let's see if he gives us an explanation real quick before I skip forward.
A recent study found that higher ranked pages are on average more search engine optimized, more monetized with affiliate marketing, and show signs of lower text quality. That means the higher a page is ranked on Google, the worse it literally is. But you know what? According to the study, it's not just Google. It's every search engine.
God damn it, I'm fucking muted. My bad. Shit. I was saying I didn't think that would necessarily be true. I think it can be true. I don't think it's always true. I forgot I was fucking muted. My bad. But because not the whole fucking point of search engines is to get is for people to find the results. So if they don't get the answer what they are looking for, eventually they will stop using it. And I believe in the past, Google has gone through flows of not, when they change and have their updates in the algorithm, it typically does sometimes can come with like impacts where there are issues with rankings and getting the right results and things like that, and the answers can change and shit. And so there's always an adjustment period after every major update, and I think we're just seeing like this AI one is just one. It's just like I've never seen an adjustment period take this long though. Like I don't know what the fuck's happening with this AI bullshit. Like that is like a whole different beast. But I do think that there are times where you are going to get good results for your searches, but it is true that you're not always going to, and that they will fuck with the algorithm if it benefits them, I believe. You know what I mean? Okay. Now let's step into the middle just a little bit. Let's just see. Um, okay, this looks like an ad. Okay, let's just see what's happening after this ad. This looks like a good point to come back. Alright, let's see what the fuck he's saying here.
To suck as hard as it does if there were another option. But here's the worst part. Google uses the massive resources they get from selling you to advertisers to make sure that you have nowhere else to go. Sure, at first Google won the search market fair and square by having the best product. Alta Vista went hasta la vista, the Lycos dog was sent to a nice farm family upstate, and Ask Jeeves, well, he's not even the logo anymore because he killed himself. But once they achieved dominance, Google started using their advertising billions to buy their way to a monopoly so that no one could do to them what they did to poor Jeeves. Google pays Mozilla upwards of $450 million a year to be the primary search engine in the Firefox browser, and they pay Apple as much as $15 billion a year to be the default search engine in Safari. That's right, the fruit company is getting more than the entire GDP of Laos just to stop you from Bing and shit. Of course, Google doesn't have to pay anyone to be the default for the most popular phone and web browser. That's because their monopolistic asses already own them. It can take 15 clicks to change your default search engine on a Google browser, so most people never bother. These defaults are so powerful in shaping user behavior that Google now owns 90% of the search market, and it is almost impossible for new search engines to break in, even if they're actually better. In 2018, two former Google...
You know what? That's actually true. But I will say, so in terms of creating like entire search engine platforms, I feel like that is true in terms of the barriers to market entry. Like it's Google, you know what I mean? But in terms of every platform has its own search engine, right now, like I've also feel like a lot of people will be using social media platforms as search engines. A lot of people will be going to TikTok for their search engine instead of Google. You know what I'm saying? So that's also something to reflect on and consider too. You know what I mean? When you're not able to perform as a business person, if you're seeing rankings suffer in Google, you're seeing things tank on Google, reflect on how you can rank on social media because those social media links are still going to rank on Google. Even if your website's getting penalized, Facebook links, Instagram links are still going to rank higher in Google and things like that. You know what I mean? So there's always workarounds, you know? Okay, let's check out like what feels about the conclusion.
antitrust law. And even though that case was eventually settled, just the threat of federal enforcement actually caused...
Okay, let's see. Okay, so this is May 27, 2024. On September 9, 2024, there's an antitrust violation that's going to be going to trial. So we'll see. So it's interesting to know that there's another thing that's been scheduled about settled and scheduled about that.
Microsoft to change their business practices. Microsoft's own lawyers admitted that the constant scrutiny and being in the newspaper all the time actually made them behave differently.
Oh, that was Microsoft. Okay. Well, maybe Google will change. Who knows?
Because no one wanted to test the regulators anymore. Microsoft stopped trying to monopolize the internet, giving new startups like Google the space they needed to grow and flourish. That's right. Google, the biggest of all big tech companies, only exists because the government was willing to step in and kick some big tech ass. This is why we need antitrust enforcement. If monopolistic companies are allowed to strangle their competitors in the crib like Microsoft used to do and like Google does today, they'll never be able to grow up into those energetic, idealistic teenagers that change the world. So you know what? If we want to fix this, our government needs to get off of its ass and...
Okay, I don't know what the fuck this conclusion's doing here. I kind of wish I didn't watch it. Maybe I'm wrong. But I like the beginning of it. Okay, so if you want to watch the whole thing, though, I will try and remember to link it in the description of this video at the end. But it is in the article that's already linked in the video. So, yeah, and I think I will try and remember to go look into this court case and cover it because I'm interested in that. And then I also just want to check real quick the Vanderhook original post on LinkedIn that this article is about. Let's see if that's still available. Oh, it still is. Okie dokie. Yes, so it looks like... Okay, we read this entire post already. Word for word, it was posted in this article. And they added some other shit, but yeah, so we got the main points, but I'll go ahead and link the original post outside of the article to that from Tim Vanderhook about all of this. Okay, so yeah, okie dokie. But not least, yeah, last but not least, I think this is the last thing we're gonna take a look at here. Um, I just want to watch the conclusion of this video from Cold Fusion. Hey, that rhyme. And this is already linked in the description of this video. And it is called What Killed MySpace. It wasn't Facebook. So we can check out what the conclusion says here. And we're going to be watching this one. We're going to watch this one at 1.5 speed. So we watched the last one at twice speed, and we didn't watch the whole thing. This, we're just going to watch just a conclusion at the end, 1.5 speed, and here we go.
MySpace, once worth $12 billion. It was the most visited site on the internet, had customizable profiles with music. It was the place to be in the mid-2000s. So what killed MySpace? The outdated programming language, the pass on purchasing Facebook, the News Corp acquisition, the unsafe and negative brand image, the ads, all contributed to the demise of MySpace. Ultimately, it wasn't Facebook's superior product that won them the battle. It was MySpace's bad decisions.
So here, they're talking about how ultimately it wasn't Facebook, it was MySpace not being able to meet consumer expectations in comparison to Facebook, you know? And so I can see why the CEO has an outside perspective where they felt penalized by Google in their performance. But I do feel that for a lot of us users, we didn't see it that way. For us, it felt like the user experience side, it felt like Facebook was the better place to be. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the same, because he was, for example, his point about emails, a lot of his for the CEO on this article that we were, looking at from Vanderhook or whatever, a lot of this audience wouldn't really be reading their emails. They go check their social media notifications instead. You know what I mean? In terms of the users of apps, like, in my opinion. Like, I don't check my email to see what I actually I don't like getting email notifications for social media notifications. Like, just give me the notifications in the app and only give me emails for what's necessary. You know what I mean? Like, that's me. But anyway, okay, let's.
Sean Parker, Facebook's first president, said that Facebook only won because MySpace blew it.
And MySpace is another case where a company just blew it. Facebook had no chance to win. We should not have won the market. The network effects of MySpace were so powerful. The only reason we won was because of the gross incompetence of MySpace systematically over a period of many years.
And I think that's another thing where it's just like that's also where it's like why would Google penalize MySpace but not Facebook? You know what I mean? So where it comes to so I do feel like if we were just asking the question, why did MySpace fail? And then we go into a discussion of the impact of Google on it, I think that's valid. But if we're looking into did Facebook kill MySpace and then we're just not addressing the fact that MySpace couldn't compete with Facebook, I do feel like maybe there isn't some accountability there to where the product wasn't delivering to the user expectation in comparison to Facebook, and they didn't bother trying to compete, in my opinion. Or maybe by the time they were trying to compete, they felt penalized by Google already. By the Google is what I said. Goddamn. Oops.
Did I just say that publicly?
And there you go. It just goes to show that sometimes it's not about being the first, it's just about being the last. All that remains of MySpace today is the nostalgia.
Oh man, my MySpace is banging. But MySpace is highly recommended and I love it.
Are you glad you created one?
I'm glad I created all three of mine.
So that was our look at MySpace. It was really interesting to take a look at the recent history of the 2000s. It was such a unique time and we're just entering a new paradigm. It is amazing to see how our conceptions of social media has changed since then. Back then, it was new and exciting. Now we're much more aware of all the dangers involved. Anyway, I'll be interested to know your MySpace memories below. And if you're interested in seeing how social media has changed our society, I've got a video on that, which I'll link after this. If you appreciate this content and you want to see more videos, don't forget to subscribe and share this video. It really helps me out. Alright, so I'll catch you again soon for the next video. Cheers, guys.
Alright, so I'll link that shit in the description of this video. But yeah. So, we are here now. I feel like this one, I'm gonna process this because if we hadn't done this stream, if I hadn't done this stream here, I wouldn't have decided to look into this antitrust violation case, and I'm very curious as to the result here. But yeah, so I will be covering that for sure, I think, in another stream. And so in conclusion, today what we've been discussing is well, we first led off with the video that I forgot to show last time from the Bob Ross situation, but I'm actually kind of glad I forgot to show it because I realized more about the video before I showed it this time that I don't think I would have, I don't think I would have looked at and fully realized the whole AI thing behind it all. Um, if I had just like shown it originally. Anyway, so worked out. But then after that, we looked into just the context of Bob Ross being commodified, looking for in the context of where I was trying to find these ads from him, well, from his branding, um, from the company of him. He was passed away at that point, but you know what I mean. One of the Bob Ross ads, but I couldn't fucking find the ad that I was looking for. But I found all this other shit instead, so we kind of covered that instead. And what we covered instead, because I was trying to find this Bob Ross ad, was the context of the solicitation of Bob Ross, where Bob Ross had been fucking, in my opinion, basically, he ended up getting exploited, I believe. And I believe, basically, that's why his son isn't able to benefit from his work because of greed, in my opinion. And there's a Netflix documentary about it. I think it's called something about the joy of painting or some shit, but look it up. Um, and more information about that, link in the description of this video. And throughout this process, we also, we did touch on a little bit, I think, again, reminder of the 5 steps of conversation, I think, but we really focused on the turn and burn in regards to the introduction. Um, the turn and burn effect today as well in regards to how Bob Ross is able to get your attention and take you from your mind from basically focusing on one thing to focusing on another. It's kind of like an implementation of the Turner burn effect in his content. And so we looked at that as well. Yeah, fucking, then there was that one ad, that MTV promo too, that we checked out. I had fucking thought that shit happened after he died or something. But no, that totally had to have happened while he was alive, because otherwise, why the fuck would he have been able to be speaking? You know what I'm saying? And I hadn't paid attention to the end of it before I showed it. You know what I mean? Uh, so yeah, whoops. But fucking, so we looked into that, and then keeping in touch with our going from the late 90s to the early 2000s, between the early 2000s and mid 2000s nostalgia here. I decided to look into how did MySpace die? Because I'm thinking it was Facebook, but maybe it was Google, maybe it was more than, maybe it was MySpace, not. So what do you think? Do you think MySpace died because of MySpace, Google, Facebook, or all of the above? I think it was a mixture of all of the above. Like, I definitely think that Google and Facebook, um, performing the way they um, did make it harder for MySpace to continue as the powerhouse that it was. And I can see where Google did things that were probably um, potentially unethical in context of the power that they had over their competitors. But also, I also do feel that MySpace had the resources and they could have competed better, but they didn't go in a direction that was where the users wanted the experience to be. And if they had paid more attention to their analytics and things like that, they could have done better, in my opinion. Like, I feel like there were decisions, in my opinion, made on the MySpace side that also contributed to their decline, to where, like, people would have stayed. None of that other shit would have made people leave MySpace if they hadn't if they'd give people reason to stay. You know what I mean? Like, if they hadn't given us a reason to leave MySpace, we wouldn't be looking for another social network. People were getting bored and over what MySpace had to offer. You know what I'm saying? Um, that was also, in my opinion, from what I remember, being the vibe. You know what I mean? Like, that was something, to marinate on too, like the user experience side. So I could see, like, how, like, on the business side, it feels like all those other things are happening, and maybe, that was it. But there's also, for me, it's like I feel like there are things that MySpace could have done better too to compete, where they were just like focusing so hard on shifting to basically promote the music that they stopped being a social platform focused on engaging, if that makes sense. And it's like they lost sight of what they were originally promoted themselves at to be. If I'm I don't know, but yeah, that's just how I think it kind of happened. So I'm gonna try to remember to link the couple of posts from the video that we watched and the LinkedIn post and the description of this video. And then I figured we could just end off here with a little bit more of this ending here for the Bob Ross interlude. We will finish off here and then we're going to end the stream. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I appreciate you. I hope you have a good night. And yeah. Thanks for watching. Join the loyalty program at noladeafchild.com/loyalty and check in during live streams to get points for rewards. Bye.